And a very good morning from Gangneung, Korea, the host city for the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. We're on the coast of Korea. It's a sparkling Sunday morning as the locals go about a bit of shopping, a bit of brunch. Beautiful late autumn morning here on the east coast of Korea. It's about a 4-hour drive from Seoul. And we come to the building now, the inside of the venue, the Gangneung Curling Center, for our feature match this morning, men's session number 2. It's Japan taking on New Zealand. I'm Hans Frauenlaub. I'm joined by Anne Swisshelm. Good morning to you, Annie.
Good morning, Hans.
Teams are awaiting, and let's meet the teams. Here's Team Japan. At lead is Shinya Abe. Yasumasa Tanida is at second. Tetsuro Shimizu is at third. And Team Japan is skipped by Yuta Matsumura. They face Team New Zealand. At lead is Warren Dobson. At second, Anton Hood. At third is Simon Nielsen. And Team New Zealand is skipped by Scott Becker. Here are the standings. New Zealand had the bye yesterday. China, Hong Kong, Japan, and Chinese Taipei all had wins last evening. Australia, Kazakhstan, Korea, and Qatar looking for their first win. Single round robin here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Top 4 will advance to the playoff round. Here are the matchups in session number 2. On sheet A, Kazakhstan takes on Australia. Our feature match on sheet B is Japan versus New Zealand. Hong Kong faces China on sheet C, and on sheet D, Qatar takes on Korea. Here at the Gangneung Curling Center. So Anne, first game for Team New Zealand. What do you think they're going to be thinking this morning?
Well, this is going to be all about managing the emotions of this opportunity. This is their first game here in the championship. And it's the first time really on TV for this squad as it's lined up now. This is a great opportunity. It's going to be about managing the emotions and getting as comfortable with the competitive ice conditions as quickly as possible.
Warren Dobson, New Zealand lead, gets us underway.
Yep, bring him in. Yep. Bring him in.
Japan has the advantage of last rock here in the first end. New Zealand is playing the Yellowstones, and Japan will play the Redstones.
Come on, boys. Don't leave me out.
Conservative play here from the Kiwis, throwing this one into the rings first up.
Going right in. They're going to test and see how aggressive Japan will be.
Here is Shinya Abe. Lots of experience. He's curled for 30 years.
Yeah, and they were looking for a corner guard here. They are going to go kind of all in on this first end, take advantage of that hammer, set up some guard stones to generate offense. That stone took its time crossing the center line, but definitely got to a wonderful spot for Japan.
Japan declaring their intentions early. They want to go on offense.
Yeah, and that's a great move for Japan. They've already played a game. They've got one win under their belt. They are going to try and take advantage immediately with that hammer, the last stone.
Nielsen and Hood on the brushes. A little tap. Nice shot by Dobson. New Zealand lies 2. Here are the rules of play. We are playing the 5-rock free guard zone. 6 ends minimum, 10 ends scheduled. 38 minutes of thinking time for each team. You see the time clocks in the background. Each team has 1 60-second timeout.
So with that tap being a little offline for New Zealand, the lead from Team Japan looking for a hit and roll underneath that corner guard.
Clips the top stone, however. Pushes the Kiwi stones around the rings, pushes one of them out. A little bit of overcurl there for Abe. And a good chance now for New Zealand to guard their shot.
Yep. Put it in front of it. Yeah.
As we see so often early in tournaments and quite a lot of movement, a lot of curl early in the week. Hard to guard. Here's Anton Hood, the youngster, 18 years of age. Team New Zealand.
Keep it teed up. 6. Full 6. Yep, keep it teed up.
Yeah, at the beginning of an event in particular, and also the beginning of a game, the pebble, the little drops of water that's on the surface of the ice that make the sport so unique and create the curl for the rocks.
Gonna leave it double and roll. Okay.
Just so aggressive, tons of movement, as you said, hard to guard. It's real hard to guard when you throw it a little heavy too.
That's true. That one's into the rings, so a chance for Japan to throw a hit. Yasamasa Tanida, Japanese second player.
Yes.
So let's see if they manage this spot a little bit better on the second time. It's over curling again.
Japanese stone sits in the 8-foot circle. Red circle's 4 feet diameter. White circle's 8. And that lovely teal blue 12-foot circle in. It's kind of my favorite part of coming to Gangneung.
Yeah, it's a great color. It is reminiscent of the beautiful Olympic Games held in this building.
Give hard!
Kiwis jumped this one immediately, trying the hit, but this one might be over curling.
Okay. Whoa, whoa.
It's got a piece, but it might be jamming. Yes, it does.
Oh,
that is just disaster for New Zealand.
Normal edit.
Those first two stones at in a venue like this, those are tough stones for a young player. He needs to ditch those right away and get focused back on the sweeping and communication with his teammates. And opportunity, Japan.
Big chance here for Tanida. Wrap one around that corner guard. Japan would absolutely be in business here in the first.
Line's good. Line's good. Line's good. Line's good. Line's good.
Oh, nice control of the weight there from Tanida. Into the 8-foot. He's ducked a corner. There, a great look at it. 2/3 buried. Nice shot from Tanida. Great spot. Simon Nielsen, throwing third stones for New Zealand. 21 years of age. He's up the weight quite a bit from what Anton Hood threw down that same track, and not surprisingly, the result, a lot less curl.
Yeah, and now Japan is going to have the chance to create a bit of separation in the rings, even further than they had last time.
This is textbook setup for a 2-point end here for Japan if Tetsuro Shimizu can execute on this draw.
Yeah, he's just going to put this stone into the wide open on the opposite side of the rings, as far away from the other stone in the rings as possible. It's got to be in the scoring area. They're starting to sweep really hard now, trying to drag it.
Abe and Tanida on the brushes. If you think Shimizu, he looks familiar. Where have I seen him before? He's the longtime third player for Yusuke Morizumi's team. Competed in this building at the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. So of all the players in this Japanese squad, Shimizu is the one with the most international experience. Here's Nielsen.
Get hard! Whoa, 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 whoa. Can you roll? Yep. Roll it.
That's a nice shot from Simon Nielsen. Hits and rolls, closes it up. That'll build the confidence.
Yeah, and that's really as good as they could have done in that situation. They're just trying to get over there. Maybe they'll get a miscue out of Japan.
Heard Scott Becker say. Hoodstone just a little narrow and it really moved. And now Shimizu trying to hit and stick to maintain the possibility of a deuce here for the Japanese here in the first. Hits a little bit of a roll to the wings, but I think it's going to hang around. Yes, it does. Great separation for Japan now. Lots of distance between those two counters in the rings and a difficult angle to think about a double.
Yeah, just even if we just hit and roll out. Throw normal. Yep, about there.
Warren Dobson just confirming the line that Scott Becker wants to throw, and here is the New Zealand skip. 33 years of age. Part of a curling family in New Zealand.
It's a well-known New Zealand curling name.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Nose hit from Scott. So an interesting choice here for Japan. You could even draw in front of that back stone now or hit it. You got some options here. Judging by the room placement, looks like the hit.
Yeah, it does look like the hit.
If they were thinking really aggressively in, would you push hard for that 3 in the first end? You're pretty happy with the deuce, really, first up, aren't you?
I think it depends what your game plan is coming into the end. And Japan had a very clear game plan. We saw it right away from that first stone thrown. They were going to try and be aggressive. You know, I'm a little curious about this call. I know this is one of those ones. It's a skip's choice call here on the takeout. I'd like to see him draw down there, make New Zealand's next shot a little more difficult.
Matsumura hits and rolls out, and so that does open the door a little bit for New Zealand. They got a chance maybe to make a play on that shot if they wanted to. Bit of a risk. Matsumura.
I don't know that it's too much of a risk as far as, I mean, you've got to...
Run back. Run back.
Yeah, that's the shot they got there. Play the run back.
Just normal.
So for those new to the game, and a run back.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit the stone that's
Nose gets it,
outside
but
the
if you're a
scoring
bit wide
area,
this side, it'll go
back
across and
onto
take
the
it that way
stone
as well.
in the scoring area. Try and take both of them out.
Scott Becker trying the run back, wants to eliminate that scoring counter in the rings.
Yep, 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 yep. Whoa, whoa! Yep, 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 yep!
It's close. Now he jams it. Just misread that one a little bit. Leaves Japan lying 1.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit of tender weight on that
a
shot.
little
I would
quiet.
have.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need a ton of weight. It's all about angles and where you hit. But that shot might be a little bit easier, tightening up the ice and throwing a little bit harder at it.
So a chance now for Japan to draw for their pair here in the first. There's the brush being held by Shinya Abe. Skip Yuta Matsumura, last stone here in the first.
Gets a chance at redemption here after a couple of misses by the skips.
Rolled out with his hit. Just has to hit the paint here to score 2. Sweepers are backing right off of this one. It's got a bit of a head of steam on it. Can Dobson get it through the rings? Taking it as deep as he can. He's allowed to sweep this stone out if he can. Oh, it just hangs on. Matsumura using all of that 12-foot ring on that one, but it is a 2-point end for Japan. So Japan opens their account with a deuce after 1. Japan 2. New Zealand no score.
ここの動きが全然違ったね。ここがね、この辺からもう変わらなかった。
That's right. Yeah, Scotty's one was saying like could have hit that side of the nose or that side of the nose.
感じだよ。ちょっとあるかも。だいぶ。前は悪くない。Line's good. Line's good. Line's good.
やっぱ滑ってきてるわ。
だね。14.7.
And with a pair on the first, carrying a 2-0 lead here into the second end of play, the Kiwis will have the hammer here on end number 2, last rock advantage. New Zealand skip Scott Becker holding the brush for Warren Dobson. Warren competed in the 2006 Winter Olympics for New Zealand.
They are fighting for distance on this, sweeping as hard as they can, trying to drag this away from the center line as deep into the field of play as they can.
Nice brushing there from Nielsen and Hood, about halfway.
Line's good.
ちょっと近い。
ラインはいい感じ。
ちょっと近い。あ、いいよ。
ラインはいい感じ。クリーンだけ。クリーンだけ。
Ice conditions looking excellent, Ann.
Yeah, the chief ice technician, Sean Olson from the United States of America, is really enjoying this championship, setting in the ice, being back in this venue. Opening game looked beautiful. Great speed, great curl for these athletes.
We've it for line. Where?
He's hopeful that the weather's pretty cooperative outside this during this week and that the entire championship will see outstanding ice conditions.
Get ready, Simon. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Just waiting for this one to curl.
Okay, Dobby. Thank you.
Stone's in a pretty good spot. They would have liked to see that get to the face of the red stone.
Small bump there for Dobson, creating a bit of a gap. Tanita, Japanese second player.
This is a nice choice by the Japanese skip. He could try to play a hit down there, but the stones are really still lined up in favor of Team Japan.
Yes.
They just want to freeze another stone down in there.
So this is kind of classic mixed doubles strategy, isn't it? You're just sort of freezing them there, creating good angles for yourself.
Well, I think it's not just mixed doubles anymore, right? It's with the 5-rock free guard zone, allowing all of these rocks in play. I think the teams are definitely putting a lot of play to the center now, very early with confidence. But the neat thing is that you still have play to the wings. That happens, as you saw in the first end for Team Japan.
After a bit of discussion, Team New Zealand are going to make a play on that front stone.
Yeah, and the young player really needs to find a little bit of a groove here for New Zealand.
Trying to roll this one a little bit away from the action, but this one is close to nose.
All right, well, you changed around a wee bit.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and that's nice to hear from the skip, just trying to be positive, bring his young player along.
Speaking of Beckers, here is Coach Peter Becker. You notice that Peter's also listed himself as an alternate, so I think he might be harboring a hope to get on the ice sometime this week, Annie. I don't know, but quite happy in his coaching role.
Okay.
Yeah, most coaches don't want to see that happening because that means something bad has happened.
Yes.
Either someone's not playing to their normal level or that there's an injury or an illness. So.
Oh, good-looking stone here from Team Japan. Tucks it around that center guard, and Japan's line 3. And there we see the Japanese bench, and there's Coach Bob Ursel. Worked with the Korean Federation in the lead up to the Pyeongchang Games, and now working with Team Japan.
There is a lot of curling happening in this zone.
Give hard! Yep! Give hard!
Oh, Oh, so close to a perfect run back double there from Anton Hood. Hit that one right on the nose in the front, just went by that stone on the button.
Yeah, it was nice to see the energy, though, from him. I think that's going to help him moving forward. Just get a little bit of that, that communication, that energy out.
Yep, talented young player, there's no doubt. New Zealand with last rock here in the second, but things stacking up pretty well for Japan.
Yeah.
2 in the rings, 1 guarded, and here's Tetsuro Shimizu, Japanese third.
Japan just has a little bit better command of the subtle rock placement right now. And that could be from, they do have quite a bit of experience, this team. They've had some success this season already. And also, this is their second game out there.
Yeah.
And that's probably the real difference maker.
I agree.
In this draw.
You're right. New Zealand had the bye last night, so even though they had a chance to practice yesterday afternoon, as did all the teams pre-tournament, this is their first game, and you're right, and I think that makes a big difference. Great shot there from Shimizu.
Yeah, and I think New Zealand needs to stay pretty patient here. They don't need to panic too much. It's early in this game. I know they're down by 2. But remember, the Japanese skip had a pretty open shot that he missed. And that's going to hang around his memory a little bit.
Ah, yeah, good try.
Nielsen gets rid of 2 of them.
Yeah, makes the double.
Great throw, Si.
Nearly got all 3. Catch that one a little bit thicker. Maybe you get some action on that one in the front button as well. Good throw from Nielsen. Shimizu looks intently at this one. Trying to hold the line. Is this one going to overcurl? Gets the inside roll. Goes to the back of the forefoot behind cover. Nice shot from Japan. Japan lies 2.
Catch that guard off.
Let's have a quick look at Qatar versus Korea playing the first end. And
trying to get it off the top of the pin.
good chance here for Kim Soo-hyuk. If you were with us last evening, we saw this team playing against China. They had a great game, but they came up just short at the end. Home team trying to bounce back this morning, and a great opportunity here for Korea. Just get by that top stone and bang, it's a 4. Korea up 4-0 after 1 end of play.
Back 4. Whoa. Back 6. Oh, it looks hotter than that. Back.
And in our feature game,
even front house is fine.
New Zealand looking to get to the face of the Japanese stone on top of the button and tap it back. It's just thrown a little bit heavy. The skip had asked for back 8 weight, and that was easily all the way to the hack. Just a little bit of an overthrow.
Yeah,
that's that adrenaline management here.
Exactly right. I was going to say exact same thing. Bit of an adrenaline rush there. And Scott Becker say, uh-oh. He's right. New Zealand's in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, he's thinking through what are my options going to be.
I'm going to have a tough one.
I think the option's going to be run back, run back, run back. Unless
I really want to
Japan set something out here quite wide.
One of 2 left-handers in the men's tournament. That's Samura.
Line's good.
That is sitting out a little wide. They're looking for this to be just a tight guard.
It's going to be full 12 foot. Maybe biting a bit of the 8. No, full 12. Covering the shot. Good line.
Yeah, that's in a good position.
Possible triple here, though, for New Zealand, I think, and the way they're lined up.
Yeah, there is it looks to me that likely that center stone jams a little bit, but
certainly a chance to kill 2.
yeah, I think you do want to keep your shooter on the rings if at all possible. I think the goal would be to get the double for sure.
Damage limitation here for the New Zealanders. Trying to open up a path to the scoring area here on this shot.
Because there is nothing on the other side of the ice.
Hard! Hard, boys, hard!
This is over curling.
Yes, it
Just
is.
a ton.
It's going to roll out of the rings. So the early struggles continuing for the Kiwis. Great
Yeah.
chance here for Japan to really lock up this one in the front of the button.
Yeah, so here we go. We've got the adjustment now. The first shot for the Japanese skip was to sit just on the top of the rings. Now it's all the way down tight into the forefoot.
Good news for Matsumura. This is really the same track that you just threw down, so you should have a pretty good idea of the speed.
Yeah, and it's not just the thrower that has a good notion for the speed. It's got to be the vice skip in the house calling the line, understanding when the break point is of the ice, the sweepers communicating and being right with how much force and intensity they put on the brushes. It's one of the great things about Team Japan, their consistent communication. You can hear it whole way down the ice. They take nothing for granted.
Never in doubt about distance. Great weight communications from this team. Pretty good spot, and really just a draw to the button to try and cut down to one, I think, is about the only option here for Scott Becker. Only good option anyways.
I mean, with that placement of the stone, the run back really only would get rid of one.
Yeah, but if you ever curl and you blow it by, you're dropping three.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. So this is a real tester for the New Zealand skip. Needs full forefoot, a little bit better than all the way into that red forefoot circle out there. He'd love to nuzzle right up next to the shot stone by the button.
Last stone of the second end for Scott Becker. Trying to draw the button to cut the damage down. Probably can't score, but hoping to just drop a steal of one.
Full two. Full two. Come on, guys. On the tee. There you go.
Hood and Nielsen, they're in charge of judging the distance.
Keep going. Come on, right in. Come on.
Trying to get full forefoot to cut them down. That's a nice shot there from Scott Becker. Couldn't do much better than that. It's a steal of one for Japan, but a very nice shot by Becker to reduce the damage. Steal of one for Japan. One red confirmed after two ends of play. Japan now leading it by a score of 3-0.
Oh, that's all good. Good draw.
Welcome back inside the Gangneung Curling Center. Our feature match is Japan versus New Zealand. We're playing in the third end. Japan off to a 3-0 lead. New Zealand with the hammer here on the third. Enjoying live coverage. I'm Hans Fraunum. I'm joined by Ann Swisshelm. And After a toughish start for Team New Zealand,
Where?
don't need to panic. 10 end games, 5 rock free guard zone.
Watch that track.
It's really just important to score and get yourself moving, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and this is a really nice shot call here to say, you know what, we know there's a rock in the rings, we could hit it, but we are going to use that free guard zone. If possible, it's gotta stop, and it just does. So that's out in the protected area of play in front of the scoring zone.
Had it all the way, says Dobson.
And it's good for New Zealand just to be calm. Again, keep connecting with the surface of the ice, what the stones are doing. They've come close. But one of the things we've seen is the younger portion of the lineup, the middle of their lineup. This is a big adjustment in this arena, this kind of stage. And they're starting to show signs of being a little bit more comfortable with throwing the shots and communicating through them. And Japan's going to need to keep its foot on the gas pedal. They cannot relax over much. Tons of time left.
So this is the situation where in the 5 rock free guard zone, if New Zealand wanted to, they could throw another guard if they wanted to, but looks like Becker wants to bring the play in front of those stones in the rings. Here's Dobson.
Yeah, they could throw a guard out in front of the rings, but instead they're going to try and use the Japanese stones in the rings to their benefit.
Famous and Swiss helm back guards.
The back guard, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. It just holds it in the rings. It's a little bit different. And this is...
Okay, Dubby. Wee bit heavy, mate. Good try.
Little nudge there. Pace of the ice is definitely coming up. It's quicker than it was last evening already.
Yeah, the speed is really significant.
There's Tanita. Has to be a bit careful here. There is a bit of a risk of a jam if he caught it on an awkward angle.
I think Japan's okay losing one of their stones, or 2 of them. You know, they've got the 3-point lead. Keep it simple.
Nice shot. Let's have a look at Kazakhstan versus Australia. Kazakhstan holding a 2-0 lead. Australia's Dean Hewitt.
Yep. Hard, guys. Hard, guys. Hard! Yes! Hurry! Yes!
Steve Jones, Justin Armstrong on the brush is trying to hold the line here for the Aussies.
Hard!
Chance for a 2, but it jams. Single point for the Aussies. Kazakhstan leading that one 2-1.
Hard luck.
Disappointment for Hewitt. Chance for a deuce, didn't get it.
And now we've got a chance to look at a pretty clean field of play.
Oh, we got a bit of a technical problem here. We can see the player saying the handle's loose on the rock, so that little X signal that Tanita made, that's a technical timeout.
So the handles, those are the sensors for the hog line. The players must clearly release the stone by the hog line. And there's a pretty intricate communication system and battery pack with magnets involved in the handle, and every now and then those batteries do wear out.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff going in there. So the time clocks do stop, and if the handle's loose, the players sense that immediately. They're gripping the stone to clean it before they throw the stone down, and we can see the coaches in the background saying, yep, loose handle. You got an Allen key? No, I don't have an Allen key. Have you got an Allen key? Nope, I don't have an Allen key. Have to wait for the head ice tech to come onto the ice and tighten that up. So there's really only 2 ways to stop the time clock. You can call a timeout, and that's when you get a 1-minute pause to get your coach on the ice and talk about some strategy. But you can also stop the clock when there's something clearly technically wrong, and this is that situation.
Yeah, if you've got something that's happened to the surface of the ice or a unique occurrence with their stone. So
as if on cue.
Head ice technician Sean Olson heads out.
There you go. A little tweak, a little crank.
Yeah, and the reason to have him do that instead of you spinning that stone is because of that intricate battery mechanism in that handle. It is very sensitive. So
there's a lot going on there in a 18.85 kilogram slab of granite, isn't there?
Yes,
a lot
there
of technology. So back to the action now. Time clock running again. Tanita trying to eliminate that guard.
Yeah, and they're just going to try and make New Zealand's life as difficult as possible. Getting rid of the one guard.
Japan already playing the scoreboard, as you said, Anne, with a 3-point lead. They'd be pretty happy for New Zealand to score here, but only a single point.
Yeah, they wouldn't mind taking care of moving the hammer to the home end. That's really maybe not as important this early in the game. But also it's a little demoralizing for New Zealand to be looking at no guards in this 5-rock guard situation where the possibilities were pretty significant. And now it's very difficult to set up a score of multiple points for New Zealand.
Nice weight, Anton.
Yep, nowhere to hide.
Yeah, you're going to need, and I think New Zealand understands that, and that's why that rock just went right into the rings. It's keep it simple, give those younger players in the middle of the lineup a chance to make some simple shots. So this could be a huge benefit for.
Yeah, strategically now New Zealand is starting to think blank rather than score.
Yep.
Nose hit from Shimizu. By blank, if you're brand new to the sport. If there's no score at all on the end, the team retains last rock advantage into the following end. So tactically for New Zealand, in the back of his mind, Scott Becker will be thinking, I'd probably like to blank this end from here. Try to score 2 in the next end rather than have to take 1 here. Here's Nielsen.
Yep, positive. Yep. Whoa, clean, clean. Whoa, whoa, clean.
Nice shot there from Simon Nielsen. He's dialing it in.
Yeah, and these simple shots, making sure you're still running your whole team systems, even though these are very basic, open field of play. It teaches you something about the ice, and taking advantage of each of these opportunities is really important for these teams in the early ends.
Nose hit for nose hit. Nice shot from Shimizu. Stone creeping further forward in the rings.
Same weight. Yep. Fraction down. Yep.
So he had a little bit of a drift in this with this throw.
Clean, clean, clean. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, nice brushing.
So Skip saw something different out of his hand. You heard the kind of panic sweeping right away. But it turns out to be a real nice shot.
Yeah, no panic necessary. Good result there for the Kiwis. There's Anton Hood.
Sorry, mate.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of folks in the central Otago area of New Zealand following their team. It's really the curling heartland in New Zealand.
Yeah. Green. Green. Whoa. 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 Over there. Over there.
Nose hit.
Now all of a sudden we've got a little bit of an opportunity, just a potential if there's a way you can just nuzzle right in there.
Quarter rock outside roll, keep it on the ring, set up a jam.
Yeah, you might get a little something.
Just trying to maybe stay in and just try and half in front of ours, check a wee bit.
There you go. Thank you, Scott.
The beauty of the players wearing the microphone.
Absolutely. Bit of a speed wobble there from Becker, but he corrects nicely.
Whoa, whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, he kind of flipped it out a little bit right there at the end of his release.
Whoa.
Do we take the read on, Dom?
That one's going to roll off the rings. Yeah, just that late correction there on the release. I agree, Ann.
Now the blank still in play.
Yep. Now let's take a live look at Hong Kong versus China. Hong Kong holding a 1-0 lead, and they've got a stone in the 4-foot, but look at the Chinese stones around the edge of the 8-foot. So real danger here for Hong Kong. A difficult but makeable shot for China's Zhou Qiu. Chance to score maybe 4 if he can make this one great.
Whoa. Clean. Clean, Yan. Hard. Whoa. 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 Whoa.
Trying to sweep out some curl now.
Whoa.
Has he got contact? Yes, he does, but it's going to roll out of the rings, but it's still a count of 3. 3 for China.
Yes, 3 yellow.
Chance for 4, but they'll take the 3 and smile. After 2 ends of play, China's leading that one just a little bit full, says Joe. 3-1. China leading that one, looking for their second win.
And this is the hammer shot on our feature game, the last stone of this end. New Zealand looking to hit and roll out.
Got the hit, got the roll, trying to get it off the rings now. Only one behind the tee line, boys. There you go, off the rings. Just no problem there. It is a blank end. Stone comes off the rings. New Zealand will retain last rock advantage into the 4th. After 3, it's Japan 3. New Zealand no score.
Good sweep. Get. ちょっと待ってんだ。15.5。もうちょい。Yes. Yes.
Fourth end to play here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018 in our feature match between Japan and New Zealand. Japan leading this one by a score of 3-0. New Zealand blanking the 3rd end. They've got last rock here on the 4th, and this is New Zealand's Warren Dobson.
Mid, tight. Yeah, mid's where we want it. Tight. Don't bring it too tight. Mid.
The veteran, Dobby, as he's known to his teammates.
Tight. Tight. Real tight.
Real tight. They want this one short of the rings to stay in the free guard zone, but might be creeping into the rings. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh, and that's such a frustrating
It's getting
feeling.
quicker now, Dobby.
Yeah, it is getting quicker.
Yeah, communicating a little bit on that ice speed. It's now in this 4th end of play as fast as the ice is going to get in the whole game.
Right there.
Shinyabe.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Overall tournament accuracy, remember they played 1 game, 92%.
Pretty nice shooting from Abe.
Really great rock placement all game from the Japanese lead.
And as you said earlier, and this team has been, Japanese team has been very impressive in the early season. It's a new combination, but they've had a couple of tournament victories already. There's Warren Dobson.
Whoa.
Nice control, whip it up. Go across the face, maybe.
Having a good start, but this one is tracking a bit straight. They're waiting for this one. They heard whoa right out of hand. Catches it thin, jams, rolls away.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the, you know, that hit really was going to be an all or nothing kind of a call for New Zealand. It might not have been as subtle of a tactic as they need here.
I agree.
In down by
Completely
3
agree.
points.
Yep, time to stop hitting. Need to throw some guards, need to have some stones in the ring, something to work with. I think I completely agree. Yasumasa Tanida, 87% so far for the tournament.
Yes.
9 teams, member associations are competing in this men's event. We've got a men's event, and later on today we'll have the first women's event draw here at the Pacific Asia Championships. Top 2 teams in each of the men's and the women's event will advance directly to the World Championships later this year. That's what's at stake in this competition. 4 teams will make the playoffs. And this year, Ann, something a little extra for. It's always been really important at Pacific Asia Championships to make the semifinals because that gives you a shot to get to a World Championship by winning that semi.
Let the boys bring you back to it.
Yeah,
But this year we've got the introduction of the World Qualifying event for the first time ever.
Yeah, the growth of the game globally is so significant that the spots at the World Championship are now, they have an extra event to get access. So if a zone, the whole world split up into zones, and if your zone is extra strong and you only have 2 spots, how do you get a 3rd or a 4th team there? And you do that through the world qualification event. And now we've got some beautiful tactics here from New Zealand. This is what we're talking about. This a little more subtle and great shot from their young second.
Nice shot there from Anton Hood. So the way that World Qualifying event will work, to finish the thought, the teams that place 3rd and 4th here, in other words, the teams that lose the semifinals, they will earn a place in that World Qualifying event, which will be held in January in New Zealand.
In New Zealand. Yep, again, this entire zone, the Pacific Asia zone as it is known, the game is just booming here. It's wonderful to see all the events and then to have New Zealand hosting the inaugural World Qualification event. It's exciting.
There's a jam. We see that strategy now paying off, and New Zealand stone hanging around in play.
Yeah, now this is where it's really important for New Zealand to keep command of the angles.
Same weight, the boys just won't sweep you as much.
Scott Becker saying to his young teammate, just throw it the same, Anton. Same track, same weight, draw it in front. This young man works really hard on his game. Lives in Naseby, which is one of the 2 places in New Zealand where they have a dedicated curling rink, and this young man is at the rink all the time.
It's really starting to curl now. Don't over curl. You don't want to sit on the inside of this. You want to sit.
Aye, that's a great shot there.
There you go. Thank you very much, says Scott Becker. So in addition to the 2 Pacific Asia teams that will play in that World Qualifying event, there will be 4 teams from the European zone, 1 team from the Americas zone, and the host nation. We'll round out the field of 8. They'll have a competition, and the top 2 will advance to the World Championships. Should be exciting.
It's a great thing for the growth of the game globally.
Shimizu with big weight.
This is.
Oh, man. Clips out the New Zealand stone, pushes his own frozen on the New Zealand stone in the back. What a result for Shimizu.
Yeah, sometimes you can do no wrong. That would be a near impossible shot to call.
Tap.
Locks it on the New Zealand
Again,
stone at the back of the 12-foot.
Okay, that's fine.
And a half around that top stone. I do like this call in.
Yeah.
Simon Nielsen.
Yep. Where? Back line. Okay, whoa.
Really treating that stone in the front of the 8-foot as a guard in this situation, trying to draw half around it. We've seen on the draws there's lots of late finish, so a good chance to wrap at least half a round if the weight's good.
Okay.
This one, though, a little heavy.
And then they can go right back to this back stone setup. They needed it to get to the face, though.
Good try, Si.
Good up, mate. Shot though.
And we look, New Zealand is shot rock at the back of the 8-foot. Shot rock is the stone closest to the middle pin. That's the scoring rock. But it is exposed, and Shimizu will just try to hit this one on the nose and kill both New Zealand rocks.
Big. Yes. 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 Whoa. Yes. Whoa. Okay.
Japan lies 3. Let's have a look in at Korea versus Qatar. Korea holding a 5-0 lead, and
Just tapping that one back and maybe try and throw it.
chance here for Qatar's Nasser Al-Yefi.
Take 2 feet off your weight there, Si.
Let's go, Ellie.
Fantastic to see Qatar competing. They're working really hard to improve their game.
And over curls a little, knocks themselves out.
Oh, well, got a break. Sticks around, rolls in. It is a single point for Qatar. Wasn't plan A, but worked out. Korea leading that one 5-1.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We fallen. Yep.
New Zealand trying to get something going here in our feature game. Gets a little inside roll, sits in front of the stone in the back 8. Not a bad shot from Nielsen. Chance maybe for Japan to pick it out through the left-hand side as we're looking at from our overhead.
Yeah, with that 3-point lead, you can see the Japanese team starting to throw a lot more weight. They're throwing the big heavy weight, get the granite moving. They don't need anything delicate. They're going to do the same here.
He's going to have to navigate past that stone in the front of the rings, the 8-foot stone. That's the danger shot for Japan.
Yeah, there are a couple of little things that can happen that are good for New Zealand if this happens to over curl at all and hits the object rock a little too thickly. They might stick around, and Japan may pick out one of their own stones in the back of the 8-foot.
Out turn for the left-hander. Safely by that top stone, just clips the New Zealand stone, spins his own out sideways. Got the job done.
Yeah, they sure did. No.
Chance here now for the New Zealanders to have another go at getting one around that stone in the front 8. Let's have another look on this shot by Matsumura. Stones flying left, right, and center. Japan lies 2. Opens up a little bit more room just behind the tee line though, Ann, and Scott Becker probably thinking, let's bury this one.
Tee's fine.
As opposed to
Putting
half
it on
around.
the pin round behind their ridge fine, but freezing to the back one's not bad either.
Okay, so we've got an either-or shot call here from the skip. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think those are 2 vastly different stones. That's 4 feet difference in depth, and that would be significant difference in line. So,
Whoa, it's real positive. It's real positive.
so now they've got it. Maybe they should be calling to the back one with it being real positive.
Take it back.
Although-
Right back. Hard!
This one's really moving.
That is curling
Whoa,
just a ton. Now they're straight
Probably
draw
overswept.
around.
Set. Oh, over.
Yep, overswept.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Worked out their shot, but the problem is it popped out the other
No,
side.
once it overcurls, Dobby, just get off it and let it.
I couldn't hear where it was.
Yeah.
Playing talk.
Yeah, we just.
You're all good.
I got a 25 on it, but it must have
Yeah,
really
so that was a pretty key discussion there. Just the communication,
Yeah.
making sure you're communicating the speed, where you think the rock's going to go from your sweepers.
This is really a learning experience for Hood and Nielsen because as younger players on the team playing with a couple of veterans, sometimes it takes a while for you to get your confidence and trust your own voice as a
Yeah.
sweeper reading the line and the weight. You're often deferring to the older players saying, oh, they must be right. And sooner or later, you have to trust yourself and say, it's going there.
Yeah, and it's not probably a regular occurrence for the second and third to be wearing microphones.
Yes.
That's probably something somewhat new or you know, getting used to knowing that someone's listening into you.
Yeah.
Is a skill. So, and speaking of skill, that Matsumura executes nicely, and now New Zealand's forced to draw for their single point.
Final stone about to come our way from Scott Becker. It's the same shot that he just threw, really. Trying to draw for a single point. Last stone here in the fourth.
Bit softer. Bit softer. Probably go on there.
On the 4 foot.
Have a look.
Saw on the previous stone how far they could drag it.
Yep, gotta go, Tom.
You can get fooled by that sometimes. Anton Hood taking charge, saying, yeah, we got to go. Putting his head down, 14-8 on the rock clock. Great fast ice here in Gangneung. Look at this one, no problem at all.
Good sweep, boys.
All the way T-line. Nice shot there by New Zealand. Single point for the Kiwis. They're on the board after 4 ends of play. It's Japan 3 and New Zealand 1.
I just couldn't hear where it was in that first one.
Yeah, I think the first one we needed more ice anyway. I didn't think it was going to swing up that much. Nice sweep. All right. Tight?
Yeah.
Just need to take a bit of weight off.
そんな攻めんくてもいいよ、外だ。攻める必要はない。こんな場合にだって。
Tight. We can get it tight.
No, bring him back to mid. Oh, he's going to overcurl. Okay, Dobby.
Center guard for the New Zealanders as we start play in the 5th end. Here in our feature match, Japan versus New Zealand. Japan leading this one 3-1.
Yeah, Japan has had a pretty textbook opening, scored 2 with the last stone advantage in that first end. Stole another point, forced a blank, and then forced New Zealand to a single point. Japan's got the hammer back.
Yeah, it's really a dream situation for the Japanese if they could put a deuce on the board here and go to the 5th end, break 4 up. That would be a fantastic situation for them. Conversely, for the New Zealanders, they'll be trying to keep the pressure on, use that center guard, and try to force a steal. And that would get them right back in the game. So an important 5th end here. Here's Warren Dobson.
Yeah, and he's got an opportunity to sit right on top of the Japanese stone that went down underneath that center guard.
Let it bend. Yep,
We gotta go for weight.
Go then. Yep.
Good communications this time from the Kiwi front end, saying we've got to go for weight.
Tight only. Mid.
Yep.
Got to get by that top one, though. Just going to rub it.
Okay.
Not a bad spot to leave it, though.
I think that's a fantastic spot to leave it when you're down by a couple points.
Yep.
Put some pressure on. Use that free guard zone area.
There's Warren Dobson. 2 guards up for the Kiwis. And when you're trying to steal points, guards are essential, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you'd obviously like them stacked on top of each other with a little bit of separation. These are on an angle that, but it still creates some traffic in front of the scoring area, a place for you to hide your stone. Japan's going to make it as difficult as possible for New Zealand to get a stone in there, undercover, hidden, and in the scoring zone.
One of the ways you do that is by getting in there first.
Yes. So, and now Japan takes ownership of both sides of that 4-foot. Their rock placement's been outstanding.
Very nice weight there from Team Japan. Let's have another look in at China versus Hong Kong. 3 Chinese stones in the ring, facing Jason Chang. Hong Kong with a win in their first game, trailing in this one, but trying to get
You
back
guys.
in the game here.
Line's fine.
Drawing
It's all you
against
guys.
3.
Red paint. Red paint. Red paint.
It's a birthday boy on the ice for Team Hong Kong, Teddy Leung. It's his birthday today, and he's having to work on his birthday, sweeping the stone into the rings. Very nice shot there from Chang. Hits the 4-foot, single point for Hong Kong. That one is all much closer now. China 3-2. Nice shot there from Jason Chang.
And in our feature game, New Zealand struggles a little bit. They just hit and bounce off a little heavy on their second stone.
Janita now trying to take advantage of that. We saw 14-8 on the split, and the pace of the ice has really come up, and it's, you know, I think it's fooling the New Zealanders a little bit, just a fraction heavy on some of these draw attempts. Looks like you can drag the rock a long way with sweeping.
Yeah, sweeping is for distance is really, really impactful. You can see that for sure. A little bit of an oversweep early in the shot, and it just keeps traveling.
You wouldn't, would you?
So, you know, this is an opportunity here for you young skips at home. The Kiwi skip is sitting up in front. You can see right here, he's up in front. He's not seeing the whole angle of the shot. If there's any way, he needs to get back behind all those stones, catch the angle, help his young player out here. Just trying to see as much of the field of play and those angles as you can, because they've had just a couple of missed sweeps on those run backs that I think wouldn't happen if the skip was sitting a little bit farther back in the house.
Might be the kind of thing they take a look at after the game as they're having their post-game debrief sessions.
Yeah.
Those little things add up, don't they?
They do, and in particular when you're playing a team that's performing at the level of this Japanese squad, you're going to need every inch, every millimeter you can get out of your rock placement.
Remember,
Just tee high. He is fine.
Yeah, now this is great recognition from the New Zealand skip. There's an opportunity here to put a rock into a good place that could eventually end up on the scoreboard.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just tee away.
a setup shot, really, isn't it?
Whoa.
Yeah, it forced Japan to make a mistake. Raise the level of difficulty for your opponent.
Doesn't really want to push the redstone anywhere, but it's going to just bounce it back about a foot.
Not bad there.
The reason they wanted to lock that on end instead of the bump, just to try and make that jam a higher probability.
Yeah, just to make sure that when Japan hits it, because they will hit it, that they would stick around. So it ends up in an okay spot.
Yeah, there's a chance to set up for a jam here.
Yeah.
後ろごと。
見えてはいるよ。ノーズでこっちまではいけるかなっていう感じでトップで行って動かせるかなっていうぐらい。
They're discussing there's going to be a little bit of action on that stone that Nielsen is sitting beside. It's just going to carry him off it and redirect the stone a little bit. There's a good look at it. And we heard Matsumura saying, got to hit it right on the nose. Now, to get to nose, you're going to have to shave that guard. This is a tough shot for Shimizu.
It's a tough shot. I wouldn't be afraid of hitting a little on the high side, the outside edge of that rock, and spilling quite a few.
Well, one thing you know about Tetsuro Shimizu, who can throw it hard. Pushes the New Zealand stone to the back of the forefoot and leaves Japan lying 2. We see the strategy of the New Zealanders paying off. Sit stones in front of your opponent's stones and look for jams. Let's have another look at it. And we see well by the guard, hits it a little bit high side, does get that little carom which redirects it onto the stone in the back of the forefoot and leaves the New Zealand rock in the ring.
If they had hit even less of that stone, it would have had more carom, it would have bounced further, the shooter would have rolled underneath the corner guard. I think Japan got caught between 2 shots there. Now it's New Zealand's turn, looking for, I think it's a double, a tap.
A little downweight hit and roll looks like to me,
Yeah.
Ann, but this one has really got a lot of curling to do, not even at the center line yet. Is he by the corner guard? No, he's going to clip it.
Okay.
Bad break.
Good luck.
Just a little bit wide and a little bit of extra weight, and they do track for a while when you do step the weight up.
Yeah, we saw that spot is actually a little straight traveling down. Once it gets to the center line, it moves quite hard across it, but it does tend to track a little bit in that spot.
Japan's line 2.
ここがベストだと思うんだ。
横に並んだ方がいいの？
そしたらさ、1234
なるよね。ノーズの方が良さそうじゃん。ノーズの方がいいんかい？
ノーズより寄った方がいいの？
Sizing it up, let's have a look in at Kazakhstan versus Australia.
これ寄ったとしても2つはない。内側ないからこっち側しかないんだ。
Abalaikan Zhuzhbai of Kazakhstan. Talked about young players with potential. Zhuzhbai is one of them.
He needs that rock to come to a stop.
No brushing required.
They're just watching it.
Save the sweepers. Throw it on the lid. No problem at all.
Never a doubt.
Single point for the Kazakhs, and they've tied that one up. It's all tied up at 3.
After quite a bit of discussion here in our feature sheet, Team Japan decided they're going to play the little hit, run back to sit 4.
There it is. Japan lies 4.
Yeah, their concerns were that they were all bunched there in the middle, but the way it's lined up, you know, New Zealand really is going to have a tough time hiding anything right now. And this is a tough ask for the New Zealand skip.
Coming down the line in turn. Try and move some rocks. Just try and kill as many as we can.
Well, there's the game plan for the Kiwis.
Yeah. Normal uphill, yeah.
So from that, my takeaway from that from Scott Becker, he's thinking triple takeout.
Yeah, he's looking for a triple here.
Hit the inside on the brush side, kill 2, roll to the
Yeah.
inside, kill the stone behind the guard. He's going to have to throw a missile to make that, though.
You know, I almost wish he'd play the other way and for sure get the one behind the guard, because that's his only out at this point.
Hard!
Well, here it comes.
Roll it! Roll it in!
Well, he's got a corner freeze
Oh,
on that
that's
stone
a
in the
nice
front
shot.
4. That's a good spot. Nice shot there from Scott Becker.
So, you know, he might have a chance here if Japan makes the shot exactly as they're saying. They might have, you know, a little half-checked double guard, and the New Zealand skip will either be playing a double and roll to sit behind cover, or you know, go all in and draw the back of the 4. But let's see what Matsumura has for us here.
Japan does have last rock. This is the first skip stone for Japan here on the 5th. There's a big end brewing.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't mind playing a down weight. So let's see that center line once it gets there.
Yes!
Yeah,
Yes!
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Oh, they like the line.
they must like it.
Gets it on the nose, pushes the Japanese stone a bit to the right.
That's a great shot.
That is a good spot.
There is nowhere really good for New Zealand to.
You're into a situation, and really, where it's a 6-foot hit and roll to a spot to get something great, and that's a high-risk shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying for it. We've got to do something.
Well, you certainly got to do something, Scott. You're right.
Trouble.
There is some cover to the right-hand side of our picture. If Becker can get a roll and get behind that yellow stone in front of the rings.
Wee bit more, Dobby.
Problem for the New Zealanders
About there?
is it's a really short run
Yeah.
back of that stone,
Just
just
off
in
the
front of the
mark.
4-foot.
Hard on the yellow for the roll across here. It looks like it's moving too much though. If it looks like it's going to go too far, don't.
Always good advice.
Good advice.
This is potentially a shot for game here for New Zealand.
Yeah, big shot here for the New Zealanders if they're trying to hope to stay in this one. This one might be over curling. Yes, it is. Rolls out to the wing, and so now it's a draw for 4 for Japan. New Zealand looking for the inside roll, but it rolls to the wing.
They're not up ice, Scotty.
Eh?
Not up ice.
Yeah. It's got a big swing to the board, but
Yeah.
Just fooled a bit by the ice read there, the New Zealanders, and that's going to be costly.
And with the sharpshooting Japanese team, they need a little bit of the 8-foot, full 12-foot.
We'll take a look at the split times on this one. We'll run a timer between the hog lines. We saw 14.8 on a draw earlier in the game. That's pretty quick. And let's look at this one. Sweepers are backing right off it. They think it's got a lot of weight, and it's 14-1. So it's,
But they've also got something to run into here.
that's true. A little backing never hurts, and they've got lots of that. It is a 4 for Japan. Nice shot there by Matsumura, and a good end there for the Japanese, clinched by that final shot by Yuta Matsumura. Japan scores 4, and that gives them a commanding 7-1 lead at the midpoint of this game. Action in the first end.
right in the spot you don't want to hit.
Japan's Yuta Matsumura with an opportunity to draw to the rings to cash an early deuce. A little bit heavy. Warren Dobson of New Zealand trying to sweep it out of the rings. Almost gets it out, but it just clings onto the back of the 12-foot for a deuce for the Japanese. In the second end, facing 3 Japanese counters. It's damage limitation time for New Zealand's Scott Becker. Needs to draw a piece of the button to cut down the damage, and he makes it perfectly. Couldn't be any better than that. It's a steal of 1 for Japan, but a bit of a game saver there for the New Zealanders. Nice shot there from Scott Becker. In the fourth, facing 2 counters. New Zealand's Becker needs to draw the 8-foot to score. Slides it just past the tee line, and New Zealand is on the board with a single point.
Yeah, I think the first one we needed more ice anyway. I didn't think it was going to swing up that much. Nice swing.
So let's catch you up in all of our Session 2 matches here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Kazakhstan and Australia, they're all tied up at 3 in the 5th end. In our feature game, Japan is leading New Zealand 7-1. China now with a 5-2 lead over Hong Kong, and Korea with a 5-1 lead over Qatar. Here at the Gangneung Curling Center.
あれだな、中盤ヤスの2投目からぐらいもう15秒超えだわ。
特に同じパスいっ
うん、同じパス3本目とかもうやばいね。
やつの今のカマ
Are you on the server or are you just using Wi-Fi? Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. I throw 3 of the bloody things. We've got some water lying about. Any of those.
We'll take a look at the statistics at the midpoint of this game. Japan with a big lead on the scoreboard and a big advantage in shooting percentage as well. Look at that, 91% for a team for Japan versus 71 for the Kiwis. 97% on their draws and that 1 stolen point. Big edge for the Japanese and their full value for that 7-point lead. They've been playing very well. Back inside the live action here at the Gangneung Curling Center. You're enjoying live action here from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Hans Frauenlob, I'm joined by Jan Swisshelm. And this Japanese team, one of the pre-tournament favorites, and they're showing us why. They're playing exceptionally well.
Yeah, they really are. Their rock placement, we saw the statistics of their draw performance at 97%. They are absolutely putting everything into the almost perfect spot, and Team New Zealand's having a little bit of trouble with rock placement, and when you're playing against a team that's near perfect, that's what's going to show up on the scoreboard. A pretty significant lead for Team Japan going into the second half of the game. And again, you saw it right there, a perfect shot from their lead. And it's time for the Kiwi lead to put a couple of guards up. Now we're going to see double corners, I would imagine.
Yes, this is where that 5 rock free guard zone rule changed, which has come into force this year at the World Curling Federation events. Becomes really important. When you're down, you can stack double guards and maybe get something going.
You're not out of the game if you can get a couple of guards up and just a couple of rocks behind, and you're going to need a miss or 2 out of Team Japan. And you haven't seen that really yet.
Haven't seen many of those, no.
But here's Japan going for a pretty difficult little tick shot.
Remember, that stone in the free guard zone area, you can tap it and move it, but you cannot remove it from play, otherwise it comes back. This one, though, is going to skate by. So the guard survives for the New Zealanders. Shinyabe just a little bit wide with that one. Worth a try, though, I think. And in that situation for Japan, 6 up.
Yeah, Japan thinks they understand that with the 5 rock free guard zone, that extra stone that can go up there in front of the rings, that 3s are in play against them. They are going to be pretty aggressive with their tactics defensively now. They were aggressive offensively in the first half of the game. They've got their lead. So that tick shot is pretty aggressive defensive call.
And for me, that's the interesting thing about the change to the 5 rock free guard zone rule. Pretty clear if you're down and you've got last rock what you're going to do in this situation. You're going to stack corner guards. The interesting thing for me is defending it. Do you try that tick? Do you play it into the rings? Do you choke a corner guard? How do you defend? And this is the interesting thing for me in this 5 rock free guard zone era.
Yeah, there's so many new options, and this is new for everyone. So there isn't like there's this tremendous amount of statistical support for tactical choices. This is their first full year we've seen this in play around the world. It has been played selectively at the Grand Slam events for several seasons. And now all of a sudden Japan's having a little bit of trouble. They had the wide open miss, and then they were looking to freeze another rock, come right back into the rings.
So this is really a textbook example of what the 5 rock free guard zone was designed to do.
Yeah.
Team with last rock stacking double guards. Now we've got 3 guards in play and a really good chance for the New Zealanders. 2 corners up.
Yeah.
Anton Hood now going to make a play at that stone in the rings. Again, though, maybe another opportunity, Ann, to throwing big takeout weight at this. And you want to keep rocks in play in this situation. This one is going to spill out of the rings.
And that's just you just can't do that and expect to win at this level of play. You've got to throw nice down control weight. If you do have to make a takeout,
Or even in this situation, you'd think maybe even throwing a stone into the rings and being a bit patient, trying to build something up.
Yeah, and I know that the skip, you know, has looked at a couple of tough situations the last 2 ends. You know, maybe to limit looking at some of the challenges he's faced.
Tanita now, free guard zone part of the end is over, so he can clear, but jams, leaves 2 stacked, so something to work with here for the New Zealanders if they can get one around.
Try and come around the wide way. Well, I was thinking if you try and come around here and you're a wee bit tight, you're going to flick that one on and roll on yourself. Okay. T's fine. Yep. You're going to be in the weeds a wee bit, so probably throw more back too.
Becker electing to come around the outside on this one as opposed to coming around the intern side, which might be a more natural play for cover, but if you can get this one around on the outside, Becker saying there's a chance that, again, one of those situations you don't love so much about the AB shot here.
Yeah, but here's the thing. New Zealand knows that Japan's going to peel those guards, no matter where this rock goes.
Right.
So this is actually a freebie, and I'd like to see New Zealand make it as easy as possible to get that free stone in the rings.
Sitting in the back.
And
that stone is going to go deep, and it sticks around the back 12 foot despite Matsumura's best efforts to sweep it out of the rings.
yeah, and as we see, Matsumura looks at it, thinks a little bit about that one sitting back there, but then he decides, nope, my trouble rocks are these 2 in front of the rings, and they are placed for a double peel, and you might even, with the right angles, pick the one off the back of the 12 foot.
In terms of somebody you want throwing a double clear, this is one of those guys that you would love to have in the hack at the other end throwing it. Tetsuro Shimizu, like clockwork, there they go.
Oh,
This is a wide corner, but nice shot.
Yeah, that is a great shot from Shimizu.
I like to call him the Shinkansen. He throws it like a bullet.
Oh, the house is fine, Si. Getting the ice to get you there is going to be another thing. Here's the button, Si. Play you there.
Little doubt in the mind of Scott Becker where to put the brush, which is a little troubling.
And actually, I mean, doubt's one thing, but communicating that doubt down the sheet to your player, that's a tough thing. So now the player's like, is this the right? You want to exhibit as much confidence down the sheet as possible to your teammates.
Back to your foot.
Is he in?
No, back to your foot.
This one's going to slide past the tee line. Will it stay in the rings?
It needs to stay in the rings.
Front house is fine, buddy.
Yeah.
Just a little frustration creeping in for the New Zealanders.
Yeah, but Japan's going to hit the open one. That shot's going to be there one more time to go underneath that corner guard. They've seen it. Now the skip knows where to put the ice.
You got that 3 locked in.
I think he had pretty good ice placement if the weight had been correct. So you got to take those opportunities when you miss to learn something good from it.
That's true. The 2-point end still definitely on for the New Zealanders.
Absolutely.
Abe and Tanita trying to hold the line. They do stick around at the back of the 12-foot, but that corner guard still usable for the New Zealanders.
Yeah, and you just make this as good as you can behind the corner. Don't worry about being shot. They don't have to be shot right now. They need to force Japan to play the run back and give themselves an open house, hopefully, to maybe split if they are shot.
Yep, the line.
It's a major adjustment in weight.
Yep, Dobson really working this one.
Come on, hard!
They're not going to get by.
Yeah, tighten up the ice down the weight, and that's what happens.
The old double correction.
Yeah.
That's why I said the ice had been good from that first shot. It was really good. And the weight actually would have been, I think, okay, maybe a hair light.
Yep. We're into a new quadrennial, a new Olympic cycle, and even though direct qualification Olympic points won't be at stake at the World Championships this year, what is at stake is every competing member association at those World Championships earns themselves a certain place in the Olympic qualifying event if they don't qualify directly. So
for the last 2 spots on the men's and women's field at the 2022 Olympic Games. It'll be in Beijing, China.
So even though we're at the start of a new Olympic cycle, the path to the Olympics still means getting to the World Championships. And so Yuta Matsumura and his Japanese teammates obviously would love to qualify for a World Championships.
Yep, and guarantee your spot at a minimum into the qualification event.
Exactly right.
Looking for appeal here. They're hoping to get a couple of bonus options. They do not get the bonus they were hoping for, but they get the single peel.
落ちてないちょっと。
Still a situation here, Ann. Even though that guard has moved a bit, you still want to try and use it.
Yeah, again, this is all about getting as behind the stone as possible.
Push handle.
Set up a tough run back for Japan. If they miss it, you've got an open chance at 2.
So what do you want?
Here Becker
Oh,
now, they're
no.
going to elect to try and play a freeze
Is it
on the
still the
stone in the
same
back.
speed?
Arguably a tougher shot.
Yeah, and I'm not sure it gets you the benefit because it's wide open. It'll be, with the amount of weight that the Japanese players can throw,
Yeah, these rocks are pretty lively.
yeah, you'll have to put a stone absolutely perfectly.
Scott Becker's played a lot of mixed doubles curling, though, so he's certainly seen the freeze situation before. He's
Yeah,
capable
and maybe
of
he's
making
comfortable
it.
blanking. You know, at this point, it's not an ideal chance for
It's
2.
got to be in the long way. Simon close. Yeah.
But what you don't want to do is set up a situation where you are forced to a single point.
Nielsen and Hood now trying to bring it all the way to that stone in the back of the 12-foot, but it's going to sit on the tee line in the open.
Okay.
Pretty good line there, but needed about another 5 or 6 feet of weight for the freeze.
Hey.
31, we can hear how quick the ice is. The New Zealanders use the interval timing system between the tee line and the hog line. That means 3.31 seconds between the tee line and the hog line, which is pretty pacey.
Okay, so tee line's their measurement
It is.
point.
I can claim a little insider information on that one in terms of the system that the New Zealanders use.
It's good. Many of the players use the back line
Yes.
to the hog line.
Yes.
So
Yuta Matsumura.
Green. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Hits, rolls it across, keeps it in the rings. It will stick around, so will absolutely force New Zealand to take a point. Yep.
Throw the same shot.
Same shot. That's exactly right, Scott.
Cut it 4. Whoa, yep.
Needs to be in the 8-foot, but Scott Becker correctly saying full 4-foot. That's the way to think. Don't think you just need a piece of the 8-foot, throw it to the spot.
yeah, and you just throwing down the same path you just threw. It reduces the variables that each of the players is facing.
Stay on the side.
Tee on its own, says Simon Nielsen.
Whoa.
Very pacey. Very needs to slow down. They do have some backing back there, but it's got to curl quite a ton to get there.
This one is going to slide deep, and it is going to be a steal for Team Japan, a steal of 2, in fact. So the struggles continue for the New Zealanders. This ice is quick this morning, and it's a steal of 2 for Japan. That gives them a 9-1 lead after 6.
Well, go one more for a bit of practice. Yeah. We've got to get there.
ラインは良かったよ。早かったけど。
遅くても分かんないだけやだな。
俺も早いんだったらいいなと思ってたから。その割にはしっかり最後曲がって残ったからね。
ああいうとこ出て当たってるし、ずっとクリーンでもうピールになってもいいし、悪くないから。
いいんだけどいいよ。
いいよ。
Back inside the Gangneung Curling Center, we're live at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Our feature match in men's session 2 is Japan versus New Zealand. And it has been one-way traffic here on a Sunday morning in Gangneung. Japan with a commanding 9-1 lead, correction. New Zealand taking last rock advantage here into the 7th, but it is very much an uphill journey for Team New Zealand this morning.
Over and off. Just let it bend off that line now. Oh, stay with it, boys, though. Stay with it.
Yeah, this was always a kind of a tall order for New Zealand. It really was. Japan having played a game, New Zealand having the bye in that opening round. This was always this was going to be a tough matchup. And we know that this Japanese team has been playing strong all season.
Yes.
So I like the idea that New Zealand is sticking with it out there. They could have conceded after 6 ends. That's the minimum amount of game they had to play.
Right.
I like that they're back out there again, that they are going to try and make something happen with this last stone advantage. And Japan is gonna
There's that tick shot we were talking about.
outstanding tick shot, and actually it's better than outstanding. That is pushed to the dead zone on the back of the rings. That is the shot of the tournament so far.
Shinya Abe saying, no problem, guys. I can make those angle corner guard ticks all day long. Great shot.
They had tried it in the 6th end. They didn't execute. I love that they stuck with it, though, as the game plan. That's their tactic. That's Team Japan's preparation. They've talked about that shot. They've talked about using it. And they didn't let the miss throw them off their game plan from the 6th end. They tried it again in the 7th, and perfect execution.
Go in. Yeah, nice weights, Dobby.
Yeah, for lead players, that's like their big moment to be able to throw those tick shots and make them like that. Fantastic shot from Abe.
Yeah, just incredible.
Let's have a look in at China versus Hong Kong. 2 Chinese stones in the rings. Final shot coming at you from Jason Chang of Hong Kong.
Hard.
Needs a double takeout here.
Hard.
This one's really moving. Is it going to jam straight back? Yes, it does. Straight back and stuffs it, so it's a steal for China. China takes a 6-2 lead in that one. China looking for their second win.
It's probably too late to get it the other way. Probably had to try to leave it all the way.
Yeah, now we see the switch, the adjustment of the tactic here on the second's first stone for Japan. Put another one right in the rings. They are really sticking to their game plan. They could have tried to tick again, but they're thinking at that point, after making one so beautifully.
Move them around. So just back 2, back 4.
I like this call from Scott Becker.
Yeah, he has to address it. And it's nice to see that they're tapping it instead of hitting at it.
Absolutely.
The hit obviously has not worked for them. So this is a great adjustment in tactics.
Whoa. Take back 2.
When you're trailing and you're trying to score with last rock, if you're new to the sport, tactically, you really want to keep rocks in play. And if you can keep rocks in play and push your opponent's stone behind the tee line that you can use them later, that's a way to generate some offense, and that's what the New Zealanders are trying to set up here.
Okay, great try, Ant.
Pretty good shot there from Anton Hood. Matsumura. He knows that the danger shot for them is the guard, so looking to eliminate that front stone.
Yeah, he's going to try and keep things as simple as possible out there. That significant lead.
Nice execution. I like the looks of this Japanese team, man. They were impressive yesterday, and they are looking really solid.
Well, they're technically such good throwers of the rock. There is very little difference between throws. They're very, very consistent. And I like seeing the game plans that they've got out there and how they're utilizing them and how they're managing the scoreboard. And really making New Zealand make really tough shots because they're just putting the rocks in good places.
Absolutely. They have not let the pressure off right from the very beginning of this game. They've been executing it really well. And it is a new team and a new combination, then they are looking very synced up as a unit.
Back 4, back 6.
Yep. Whoa. Okay.
Stone sliding to the back ring. Shimizu blasting away.
And I think they'd love to roll out.
And they do.
They get it. And the reason why they want to roll out, they don't want to leave anything back there to create opportunity for New Zealand to stack rocks on top of theirs. But with that, there is an opportunity. There you go. I like that back there. That's probably.
That's a usable rock.
You bet it is.
Come that way.
Outside in.
There. Which one do you prefer?
I like top 6.
Hey?
Top 6.
Top 6.
Well, up in the commentary booth, we're voting for the one in the back, but the team on the ice is saying we'd want it in the front of the ring, so they're going to elect to throw the stone in front of those rocks in the scoring area.
So the thing that you do by putting it up in front here, the reason why we don't intuitively love that up here is because it makes, we know what Japan's going to do next then.
Right.
If you freeze to the one in the back of the 12-foot, you force Japan between two shots. Do they go for the ones in the back? Do they go for the ones in the front? And you've got them thinking about multiple shots, the benefits, the drawbacks of each.
Come on!
And now, I mean, with the rock going there, even if it had been in a perfect spot, stacked in front, you knew what they were going to do.
Right.
So
you know that Shimizu is going to throw a heater at something. It's a question of what do you want him to throw a heater at? And now for the New Zealanders, he's going to try and hit right where that brush is. That's where the rock's going to go, and he's going to just try to blast those two New Zealand stones out on angles and make the double takeout.
Yes.
yeah, and it's starting to moving hard here.
Whoa.
There they go.
Not a problem.
Tetsuro Shimizu. Bringing the heat. And Japan wants. Let's have another look at this one. Bang. With authority.
Yeah.
Still something to work with for the New Zealanders, but not many great options now. Simon Nielsen.
T plus.
He's for line.
T plus.
Yes, for line. Whoa, okay, he's screwing out. He's on this one now. Whoa. Yep, now, yep.
T.
Stone over curls for the freeze. Comes to rest
Good
just
try,
on the back
Si.
of the button.
Hey? What does he get for time?
3 on that one.
So with this, again, I think Japan's going to try and roll out.
Yeah, no need to stick around here.
Yeah. They might get a little clever and cute and pick the one off the back of the 12-foot.
Yeah, just tidy things up a little bit if you
But,
can. Risk of a jam, though.
The most important shot, obviously, getting rid of the Kiwi counter that's in the 4-foot.
Well, they're working this one hard. They do pick off that stone in the back, and they actually move it. My goodness. Wow. Wow. When it's going your way, it's going your way. Let's have a quick look in at Kazakhstan, Australia. This is a really tight game, and tough shot here for Australia's Dean Hewitt. We see the Kazakhstan stone at the back of the 4-foot circle. It's behind cover. This looks like a raised takeout attempt here, or a tap for a single for Dean Hewitt. Tough shot. I think he might be facing two. Kazakhstan looking for the upset here.
Close.
Needs to tap for a piece of the button to score. There's the tap, pushes it into the forefoot, but it's on an angle away from the shot, so it's a steal for Kazakhstan. We'll wait for the confirmation. It's pretty close.
Line call.
I'll update that score for you as soon as we get confirmation. Players are having a look at it.
We'll measure.
Keep an eye on the New Zealand-Japan game while they're waiting for the confirmation of the final score in the Kazakhstan-Australia game.
We're 25. Pretty positive.
Tay White.
We'll update that score for you once we get confirmation.
Beans. Got a bean, hey. Back two. Back two. Back two.
New Zealand now trying to generate something.
Yeah, they're looking for a freeze.
Yeah, take it back to the back one. Yep. Yep.
Now it's going to be through the forefoot into the back of the 8-foot, freezes the stone in the back 8, but Japan lying 2, so not really helping the New Zealand cause too much back there.
Yeah, what it is doing is it's forcing Japan into
Yeah, you got to do something, right?
to make a choice
You
here.
have to make a play.
This one.
フルートにどっか入ってれば
高い方の前でもいいよ、いいよ。
OK じゃない
いいよ、いいよ。
Throw another one in there.
And the good news on that shot from New Zealand is that they actually responded to the reality of the rock, where it was going. They communicated it well. It wasn't perfectly thrown by Becker, but they really made the most out of the opportunity that that shot presented them. And it's those little things that they've got to take on to the next game, because this is their first game.
Yes.
So, and now the option's not being good for the takeout, Japan's going to put another rock in there and try and command all of the angles so that there's no double takeout for a multiple score.
And it sounds weird to say that in a situation like this, Japan 9 up and lying 2, you're kind of worried about where you put the rock, but you can set up a triple takeout if you put it in the wrong spot here, and New Zealand all of a sudden scores a 2.
Yeah, and also it sets them up, it moves the momentum a little bit. And you have been in absolute control of this game from the very first stone. You know, you don't want to let go of that. That's a valuable, you know, control of energy for a championship team. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the top of the podium here, this team.
So Japan looking to close it out as impressively as they've played the game so far. So this stone coming in to lie 3rd shot, freezes. Oh, that's a great spot for Japan.
Yeah, that is.
No triple takeout now. Terrific shot.
Really extraordinary rock placement.
So now we get that update from Kazakhstan, Australia. It was a steal for Kazakhstan, so they're leading that one now 5-3. Japan leading this one 9-1. China with a 6-2 lead over Hong Kong, and over on sheet D, Korea leading Qatar by a 7-1 score.
So we need to go with, if this is up, let Dobby know straight away, because he needs to get it off that red that's on the 2 foot, yeah? Yeah. So you'll need to pound it to get a rub off that. It's down. Let it curl a wee bit. 30? 30.
Locking in that draw weight. Scott Becker, final stone here of the 7th end, drawing against 3.
Yep.
White's good. Stay white.
Have a look. Have a look. Top pretty positive.
Top 2.
Where? Yep. Yep.
Top 4.
Yep.
Got to go.
Go find the button. Yep, blind.
But Nielsen working it hard. They need a piece of the button to score.
No, that's game.
Well, here's Scott Becker saying that's game. This one is over. Curling. It's another steal for Japan. A steal of 3 and a comprehensive victory. New Zealand is conceding defeat. Japan, worthy winners. A dominating performance here this morning by this Japanese team. Yuta Matsumura and his teammates. Comprehensive victory over New Zealand, stealing 3 in that end to close this one out by a final score of 12-1.
No, leaving me.
Nice tick shot.
Yeah, thanks.
Fifth end, Japan lying 3. Chance here for Yuta Matsumura to draw for a 4-point score. Uses the backing, no problem there. And that's a huge 4 for Japan.
Whoa, yep.
2 Japanese stones in the back rings as New Zealand's Scott Becker drawing with his final stone.
Same way, 25.
This one, though, has got a head of steam, and it is going to slide deep, and it will slide to the back of the 12-foot. It is a steal of 2 for Japan. Japan closing it out in the 7th with a steal of 3, a comprehensive victory. Japan with their 2nd win of the tournament, 12-1 winners over New Zealand. And there's a look at all of the Session 2 matches. Some of them are still in progress. Kazakhstan with a 5-3 lead over Australia. Japan 12-1 winners over New Zealand. China leading Hong Kong 7-2 in the 7th end. And Korea with a 7-1 lead over Qatar at the Gangneung Curling Center. So this is what it means for the standings. Reminder, some games are still in progress, but Japan moves to the top of the table, 2-0. China 1-0, along with Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei. Australia, Kazakhstan, Korea, New Zealand, Qatar, all looking for their first victories. A very impressive performance from Team Japan. Victory over both of the Southern Hemisphere teams here in this tournament, defeating Australia last evening and defeating New Zealand here this morning at the Gangneung Curling Center. Four teams will advance to the playoffs here at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Very impressive performance from Team Japan, carrying their early season form into this tournament. They've already had a couple of tournament victories. Now attempting to qualify Japan for the World Men's Curling Championships, which will be held in April in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. And Matsumura and company are stating their intentions early with a dominant performance this morning against Team New Zealand. So let's have a word from the winning skip, Yuta Matsumura of Japan.
Congratulations on a wonderful win over New Zealand.
Thank you.
You had a great game plan. How much work did you do to set that game plan up?
すごくいいゲームプランだったと思うけど、どういうふうにセットしたかって。
まあ相手が1試合目だったので、僕たちがやりやすいようにクリ。
So that was their first game, so we know more information on the ice, so it worked good.
Now you have the bye tonight going into tomorrow. Will you change your game plan at all for your next match?
今日の夜の試合はないけど、明日に向けて何か変えることはある？
特にない、このまましっかりと準備してやっていきたいです。
Not much. We'll continue this game plan going on.
Good. Well, it's a good game plan. Again, congratulations and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Big smiles from Skip Yatsumura and Team Japan. A great victory for them this morning against Team New Zealand. We hope you've enjoyed the action here at the Gangneung Curling Center from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. For Ann Swisshelm, I'm Hans Fraumab. So long from Gangneung.